How's it going, guys? Zach Ginn here. Welcome to episode 2 of my 4-part documentary on the whole wholesaling process from A to Z. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about actually getting a property under contract, meeting with the seller, dealing with comps, and eventually looking at the property, looking at pictures of the property, trying to figure out how much we're going to sell this property for and what we can sell to a cash buyer for. And in this episode, I'm going to show you the whole process of what to do once you get a property under contract. How do we do the earnest money deposit? I'm going to show you our whole contract that we got signed. I'm going to show you the whole process dealing with a title company too, right when you get a property under contract. Guys, this is the 4-part documentary series. This is the film I am making on the whole wholesaling process because I don't think anyone's really dissected the wholesaling process, just shown you step by step the whole thing like we're doing here in this channel. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It means a lot to me. So let's get into it, guys. So you remember in the last episode that I talked about the whole entire wholesaling process. Now we're going to get in the nitty gritty. Now we're going to go to real life examples. This stuff's real. This isn't fake. I do this business for real, and this is really exciting. I had to think about this for a second. So what kind of deal in my pipeline should I do? Should I go on an appointment? Should I try to record it for you? What's the situation? I was looking at the Podio. I was calling my acquisitions manager. He put a deal in front of my desk that I saw, and this was the day after I filmed the last episode. And I looked at it and said, "Wow, this I don't know what fate happened, but this deal came across my desk, and I'm like, this is the one I'm doing this on. This is the perfect property for me to do a 4-part documentary series on. And let me break down this deal. Let me break down exactly how I'm going to wholesale it. Guys, right now it is June 11th. So this is the day that it went under contract. So I'm actually filming this in the evening, and this is exciting. So what is the deal? What's the process? And let me try to show you the whole entire thing. So the whole acquisitions process we do is, depending on our marketing, our acquisitions manager will get the deal in our Podio, which is our CRM, which is our customer relationship manager, where we get all of the leads. And from there, we try to call the seller and try to get an appointment with them, with this motivated seller, and try to get the property under contract. So this was actually with a direct mail postcard. Everyone knows that I like to use offerpostcard.com for my stuff. And from there, we talked to the seller, and it was a complete crazy situation. So let me actually show you screenshots from the Podio, just trying to explain how crazy the situation is. So we pop up here. This is when we got the lead just in on May 26th. So this property, we're going to call it 3J Street. I'm hiding some of the more critical information on the property because you guys on my channel, and not everyone, but a lot of people try to steal my deals. I really can't afford, when I have tens of thousands of dollars on the line. I have employees that need to feed their kids and put a roof over their head. I can't afford some unscrupulous wholesaler watching my stuff, because this is one of the top wholesaling channels on the internet, to go steal this deal. So we're going to call it 3J Street in Fort Pierce, Florida. And this property, we got a call from an 80-year-old motivated seller who needed to get rid of the property. They wanted to move up north with their son, and they wanted to get rid of it. It was a complete mess of a deal. So let's pull up the Podio and really see the notes on it. So from the initial conversation, it says there was a new roof 2 years ago. He said he's 80 years old and wants to move north with his family. Seems pretty good there. As we look at the property appraiser website, it's 1,000 square feet. It is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, which is not the best in the world, but overall, if he's telling the truth, that's a new roof. I mean, the permit's getting pulled there. Seems like it's about 7 years old, which is really not that bad. So we look at the property there, and initially it looks like a pretty decent deal. I mean, roughly he was at 115, 120,000, and if it held up, it was in decent condition, this could be a really good deal. So what we did is our acquisitions manager decided to go meet him at the property. And here's an issue. The initial conversation was the 26th. We tried to get an appointment as soon as possible, but he didn't want one. He couldn't do one that day. We tried to schedule something for the next couple of days, and to call him, we tried calling him back, and he wouldn't answer his phone. Apparently, he's very hard to get a hold of, and we got a hold of him on the 3rd, June 3rd, almost basically a week later, and we knew how hard it was to get a hold of this guy. So our acquisitions manager said, "Can I meet you right now?" And he was like, "Sure." And we knew it was very hard to get a hold of him, which means other people cold calling this guy wouldn't get to him. Other people sending direct mail, it'd be a lot harder to do. So we knew this was a hot lead. We had to get this thing done as soon as possible. So on June 3rd, our acquisitions manager went out to the property. And let me replay to you the notes. Met his house, needs a complete rehab. The new metal roof was put on over the old roof, and it shows. Ideally, he said he wants to put $50,000 in his pocket after paying off the mortgage, so we agreed on $112,000, which would do just that. Then he had to get approval from his son, who lives up north, for him to move in with him. He said he could call me back that day. I've called him 3 times and I've been unable to get a hold of him. I need to stop by. So looking at that whole situation, it's not the best in the world. Yes, they agreed on $112,000. The property needed a lot of work. And from my conversation with our acquisitions manager, the deal was completely crazy because property needed a ton of work. It looked like he was smoking the property. The windows were all shot. The AC didn't work. The air handler was messed up. It was a complete messed up deal. So $112,000 was able to do a win-win where Ray could net $50,000. But him being 80 years old, we have to get approval from his sons. We want to make sure that they're comfortable with us going forward with this, especially when it's an elderly seller. We were currently in limbo in that situation on June 3rd, waiting for the son to be okay with it or approve it, or really talk to the family to see if that's something in his best interest. And lo and behold, June 11th, Ray called us back and said, yes, my son's okay with it. We got a hold of the son. We talked to him. He was completely comfortable. He knew how bad the condition of the property was, and he said, sure, $112,000 should work. We negotiated down to $110,000. The son approved, and then Ray approved. Our acquisitions manager went back to the house and got a contract signed for $110,000. And in my hand right here is the contract. We got that sucker signed, $110,000. We should make at least $20,000 on this assignment deal if the numbers look roughly good. Let me actually show you the contract, and let me show you what we actually got everything done for. Let me show what the numbers are looking like, and let's break it down, guys. So you can see here in the contract, we basically got the purchase price for $110,000. We have a deposit of $1,000. We're in Fort Pierce, Florida here, which is an extremely saturated market. So we leave $1,000 deposits because we don't want to get our deals stolen. We get deals attempted to be stolen from other wholesalers almost on a monthly basis. So we put legitimate deposits down. We don't recommend it 100%, but in our market, that's what works. It's a cash transaction. And we put here that we agree to do the closing on July 30th. That's when the sun's going to come down and clear all this stuff out. We have unfortunately, to get this deal done, the son agreed, because he was a little more savvy, that we only had a 14-day inspection period. Let me repeat that again. We have 14 days to get this property agreed and assigned with a cash buyer. Do you know how stressful that is, kind of? It's not the best situation there. I like 30 days. But to get this deal done, it's a crazy saturated market. We had to get 14 days. So, lo and behold, I agreed on it. I saw this came across my desk and I said, all right, 14 days. I think this would be a really good challenge for this documentary I'm doing and the film here. So let's get it done. Let's do 14 days. So as you can see here on the next part of the contract, we have 14 days basically on an inspection period where we got to get it done. And the inspection period, if you guys don't know, that's basically the period of time where we can actually get out of the contract safely. And this property needs a lot of work. So it's going to be a little crazy, a little stressful out here, but overall it should do very well. So that's it, guys. I mean, that is what we did right here. You can see I signed it on June 11th, which is today. That's the seller's information right there that he signed June 11th. And that is the contract. So really simple. We like to leave our contracts pretty simple. The son was more comfortable if we did a Florida bar contract, which is a lot longer, about 10 to 13 pages. So we were okay with that, and that's the one we did do, and we had him look it over. The actual seller looked it over. So overall, that's the one we did. We like to use a one-pager, but it really depends on the type of seller. So great. We get a contract for $110,000. So what should I do now? What's the process of it? So the number one thing I got to do right now is we need to leave that $1,000 deposit in there before I start contacting cash buyers. Make sure the title's starting to get ran so the whole process runs as smooth as possible, because I only have 14 days really to get this thing assigned. So what I'm going to do right now is let me run over to the title company and drop off that $1,000 deposit. I actually use a title company here in Port St. Lucie, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt my best. I don't want to be creepy and try to record people that don't want to be recorded, but I'm going to try to record myself walking in there and actually putting down a earnest money deposit on this title company. It's actually one of the biggest title companies in Port St. Lucie, so there's a lot of closing agents there. So I know them, but the receptionist probably doesn't know me because they have a new one every single time. So let me drive over and drop this $1,000 off, and let's see the conversation I have dropping off and leaving my earnest money deposit. Hey, I'm here to drop off a check for a property. Just a earnest money deposit.
It's an escrow deposit?
Yes.
Let me get some information for any buyers. And the property. What's your name and phone number? Do you know that?
We're buying it.
What's your buyer's email?
It would be Zach@.com.
And buyer's phone.
772. Oh, I just sent.
Let's see if she has one.
All right. Got my escrow deposit, basically confirming from the title company that I have the property in escrow and I have the receipt that I put the $1,000 in. So let's go find a cash buyer. Let's get this thing sold. Right now, let's go over the pictures of this property and really kind of look everything over and really make a determination on what price I should be selling this thing for and what we should do. I can see here, it looks like we're in the hallway area type thing. Doesn't look too bad here, but obviously it looks pretty dirty. So let's go to the next one. This is the bathroom. This is the only bathroom in the whole property. And as you can see here, it needs a lot of work. The toilet looks disgusting. I mean, nothing matches. This looks absolutely terrible. So, I mean, trying to zoom in, looking throughout this property, it needs a lot of work. You could see over here that the actual window is up, which means there's no AC and they're running it. I mean, it's probably super hot in that house. So that's nasty. That's not good. I mean, not the worst thing ever looking at it, but it does need a lot of work. I see cobwebs over here. The roof has some leaking splotches everywhere. And I mean, it's not in the worst condition ever, but it definitely still needs a lot of work. It looks decently clean. Seems like it needs a little bit of work. I mean, that needs a full renovation right there. Utility room needs a lot of work there too. The backyard looks decent on it. I'm just guessing it's smoking. You can see here they got all the windows opened here. Got roof problems. I mean, it needs to be cleaned up. And there's just debris everywhere on the outside of the property here. Looks like we're in the front here. And you got that old AC handler in there, which definitely is okay. It definitely needs some renovations here, but overall could be a decent property. Looking on the side here, the landscaping needs some work. It looks like there's another AC handler there. I mean, they literally put a metal roof over a leaking roof. So not the best out there. I mean, there's a big tree here in the way. Looks like we have a lot of issues here. So, I mean, the ARV maybe is 180, 190 on this thing, and it needs a lot of work. What can this thing sell for? I mean, we're doing the comps, and what I see from here is it's probably worth 190 is the ARV. So let's do some math really quick. So $190,000 is the ARV on this property. Let's break everything down. It needs a new roof here. I mean, that roof is not going to do well. It's not permanent at all. So probably needs $15,000 because this thing's actively leaking. He did this whole thing himself. Probably put 10 grand in the bathroom and another 10K in the kitchen. Probably put $3,000 for painting on the property. About 2K in the landscaping. And we're probably going to do flooring on there. So that brings us back to $35,000 on there. Think about the fencing and then outside. I mean, this property probably needs around $40,000, I would say. I think $40,000 gets everything going. And that's if you do it very skinny and very well and there's no other issues on it. It needs a new AC system, so it could be pushing it. But let's say $40,000 if you know what you're doing. If $190,000 is the ARV and I minus off $40,000 for repair costs, that brings us at $150,000. Now, $150,000 seems pretty good, but remember, my cash buyers are buying about 80 to 90% of the actual ARV minus repairs. So if I do some quick math here at 90% of 150,000, that means my cash buyers would buy at most 135,000 for this. At most, I'll make $25,000. But most likely, if I got to sell this thing for 80% of the actual ARV minus repairs, I'm probably looking at making 10. So I really got to make a decision if I'm going to make $10,000 or $25,000 on it, really depending on how much of a discount my cash buyers want on it. And we're going to see. So an average wholesaler that doesn't really know what they're doing, they could probably make $10,000 on it. And if you deal with someone like me who's more of an expert with a really robust cash buyers list, I could probably sell this thing for off of ARV minus repairs and sell this thing for 135. So I really got to see what I can do. So the problem here is I could probably push it to the limit and try to make the most money possible. But remember, I only have 14 days and I probably need a really, really reliable cash buyer. This is the dilemma I'm dealing with. There's smoking in the house. The roof's bad. There's leaks. It's got no AC. I really need to assign and find a cash buyer that will pay the most for it, but being as reliable as possible. And thinking about it right now, I think I found the guy. I think I know someone, a cash buyer I know very personally, that I can go meet them. We can get the deal done probably tomorrow and see what I can do. So it's June 11th right now. Give me the weekend. Let me go contact some cash buyers from my list. And really, I'm not going after the new ones. Really someone who understands the process and I can get this deal done as soon as possible. And let's see what I can do it for. I'm going to throw it and try to sell this thing for 140 and see what I can do. I think 140 is kind of a really, really high price. But we're going to see. This market's insane right now. So hopefully I get something going. I think the minimum I want to take for this is at least 15, 20,000. If I could make 25 on this thing, I would be blown away. So let's see what I do. This isn't the average wholesale deal we do. I mean, it's not the craziest one out there, but this is definitely a deal that I should be doing. I mean, our average assignment's 30 to 35, and our average wholesale flips 40 to 45, even 50,000. It'd be a little below our average assignment fee, but again, this was a situation where we got to get this thing done quick, and I'm not going to say no to a $15,000, $10,000 deal. Give me the weekend here. It's June 11th. Let's see what I can do here, and let me see if I can find a cash buyer and get this thing assigned. Again, I'm a little not stressed out on this one because I don't have my dispo team helping me out with this, but let's see what I can do. I think I'm pretty confident in this one, and let's see what I can do. So that is it on today's episode. We are going to go right now over the weekend, and I'm going to be calling as many cash buyers from my list. I'm going to probably do a little bit of email blasting out there and see what I can do to get this contract done. So I'll see you guys on the next episode. This is Zach Ginn, and let's get a cash buyer and let's get this deal done. It's all about the money, and let's get down to business and try to sell this thing for as much as I can. Thank you guys so much. Have a blessed day. I'll see you next week.